So for more reaction to this surprise development, we welcome Professor Eugene Kontorovich, Director at International Law Department at the Kohelet Policy Forum and Professor of Constitutional and International Law at George Mason University. He joins us live from Jerusalem. Professor, thank you for your time. So equating Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant with the likes of Yahya Sinwar, Mohammed Deif, Ismail Haniyeh, it seems preposterous, quite frankly. Israel is defending itself and responding to a terror onslaught. The Hamas terror group carried out that said onslaught and is vowing to keep doing so again and again. Your response to this move?
The ICC has given Hamas its biggest victory in the war so far and rewarded Hamas's tactics. The ICC, people should know, is not really some kind of world court. In its more than 20 years of existence, it's only convicted 4 people of the atrocity crimes that it was created to prosecute. It's been plagued with problems, and it has never successfully prosecuted a leader of an incumbent government. Because it has been criticized for targeting African states, which were the ones who joined the ICC, now it's seeking to appeal to a broader audience and to justify its existence to its donors by going to the lowest common denominator, which is, of course, demonization of Jews. Israel has fought perhaps the most meticulous and careful war ever, and finds itself being prosecuted for starvation, even in the absence of any indication that anyone has actually starved. And even when we know that Hamas has been robbing humanitarian aid from the Gazan people. It's an exercise in moral equivalence and a modern blood libel.
And obviously also a major setback here for Israel, as you say, a victory as such for Hamas. Questions about what this means for the ceasefire deal, for the hostage deal. Talk to us a bit, though, to start about the jurisdiction issue. The prosecutor, Karim Khan, announcing these applications for these arrest warrants in the context of what is being called the situation in the state of Palestine. There is no state of Palestine. How does the ICC have jurisdiction here? It's all seeming a little absurd.
Israel is the only non-member of the ICC being investigated on behalf of a member that is not a state. That is to say, the ICC can only be joined by countries. The ICC doesn't automatically have jurisdiction over a country. It has to agree to participate. And so what the Palestinian Authority very cleverly did was it applied to the ICC, which basically acts today as an organ of the United Nations. And they say, oh, the United Nations says that Palestine is a state, so we can take them as a member. And they use that to then claim jurisdiction over anything Israel does in the West Bank or Gaza, despite the fact that Palestine is not a member state of the United Nations and does not meet the international criteria for statehood. There is no other situation like this in the world. They haven't recognized Western Sahara. They haven't recognized Kosovo. So this is one of the ways in which we see the ICC has made unique, unprecedented decisions to take this investigation over Israel.
Unprecedented indeed. But at this point, Professor, we're talking about applications for arrest warrants. If they are issued, what does it mean practically for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant? We know last year Vladimir Putin cancelled plans when he was going to go to BRICS. The summit was taking place in South Africa, and Pretoria would have been obligated as such to arrest the Russian president. There are far more far-reaching implications as well. Talk to us about what could unfold.
The ICC is not going to prosecute Benjamin Netanyahu, and it's not going to prosecute Sinwar. Sinwar is not going to agree, and if anyone ever prosecutes him, it will be Israel. And of course, the leaders of Israel are not going to agree. There's not going to be a prosecution here. The point of this is the demonization. Right? The real effect is going to be a talking point for radical activists against Israel, campus boycotters, campus protesters, to say Israel is charged with war crimes. And too few people will understand that the ICC is not a real court. The ICC lacks legitimacy. The ICC lacks any authority. And the ICC is not acting in any kind of lawful way. Too few will understand that. And it's not about Benjamin Netanyahu. It's about the talking point. Israel is charged with war crimes. And in fact, the actions that are behind these allegations are not actions of Netanyahu or Gallant in particular. They're the actions of the entire Israeli army with the broad support of the Israeli public. Gantz was also involved in these things. It's interesting that he was not part of the indictment. Essentially, they're saying, Israel, you defended yourself against Hamas too much.
Not a good look at all nonetheless, and the timing is indeed curious. Professor Eugene Kontorovich, live from Jerusalem, thank you so much for being with us on I-24 News.
Thank you.